Herman's Horns took the field for the first time this weekend. We break down the orange and white game, plus it's playoff season in the NHL and NBA, whose season is coming to an end next on Crossfire. I guess we'll get into it, guys. Always enthusiastic, unbelievable, hard-nosed.
Roll up the sleeves for this one.
This Dallas team was very overrated from the start, like they always are every year.
The talent there, Kevin Mack, Eric Davis, and Cronin Roach are maybe three of the most talented guys in the team.
Oh, that's an ugly shirt.
Always a pleasure having you on, guys.
Time to freak out, Reese.
Welcome into your home for live sports debate. Get it cranked up. This is College Crossfire. I'm Reese Miller, your host. Just 3 shows left in this semester and my tenure as Crossfire host as well. Great panel on hand. Yeah. Welcome in, guys. We got Jonathan Polasek. Jonathan, something's a little different about you tonight. Something's a little off.
It feels different. As my tenure with the Reese Miller era comes to a close,
wow.
So does the fishing shirt.
Wow. That is
it's
sad.
I'm hanging up. It's going on the rafters.
To start the show.
Probably the most wins in my era, wearing that thing right there.
And for the final time in my career with you, how you doing?
Wow. Couldn't be better. If I was doing any better, actually, it wouldn't be fair to everybody else. Mark, how are you, man?
I'm telling you what, I'm doing outstanding.
There we go. Joe, what's up, my man?
Oh, I'm pretty good.
No better way to get it cranked up. Texas football back in action over the weekend. To some degree, despite not being able to figure out the score, we did see some nice performances on the offensive side of the football, even though the defense technically won the day. Fellas, who stood out most from what's essentially a glorified spring practice? Jonathan, we'll start with you.
Reese, it was nice to see Colin Johnson come out and show out that freak that he has within him. He's going up, high-pointing balls, winning those 50-50 balls. It was nice to see Texas finally have what seems to be a go-to receiver, something they haven't had since John Harris, and even before that, because I don't really count John Harris, Jordan Shipley. Colin Johnson is the guy you can trust in the end zone. Texas needs a true number 1 receiver that Shane Buechele or Sam Ehlinger, whoever it's going to be, can rely on to go and win those 50-50 balls.
Yeah, it seemed like last year they sort of went through a phase where Armani Foreman took a step forward, then Dorian Leonard, Ja'Cory Warwick, so many different guys. Maybe they finally have that number 1. Mark, who stood out?
You know, Colin Johnson stood out, but he's been a guy we've been projecting this standout. So,
Sure.
But one guy for me who really stood out was Lil Jordan Humphrey. Another weapon, another tall weapon on the outside. Caught an impressive 35-yard touchdown catch that not that many people can make. I know he only had 2 receptions, but I thought he was pretty good in the spring game.
Yeah, beautiful play. Maybe the best play of the day from Sam Ehlinger, the touchdown you referenced. Joe, who stood out to you from essentially a practice?
Well, I really love what I saw from Tonio Carter coming in, the only running back that was healthy. He went 6 for 10, or 10 for 60. He almost had a touchdown on that last play. He looked really good, but what I think is he can actually make a jump to the starting spot with Warren's injury history and Porter's inconsistent play in his freshman year. I think he has what it takes to maybe make a name for himself in just his freshman year.
Wow. Now, I do like that a lot. It's very bold. I will say I'm not sure he's ready to make that jump. I think you have a clear 1 and 2. Yes, they've been hurt, but I am giving the points to Mark. Colin Johnson, a guy obviously I think is going to be a number 1. Well, Jordan making a name for himself. Certainly trying to turn into a Big Jordan, I guess, something like that. Sticking with the Horns, not a ton you can evaluate with a purposely vanilla game plan from Tom Herman and defensive coordinator Todd Orlando. But overall, did seeing the Longhorns padded up change your outlook for the squad really at all? I know there's not a ton we can evaluate, but Mark, did this sort of change your mindset? Did you see anything you really liked or didn't?
Not at all, really. Like you said, it's just a glorified practice. Yeah. One day, Buechele could look like he did on the spring game. The next day, he could look like Sam Ehlinger did at the spring game, and vice versa. So it's just a practice. Just a practice. Doesn't really mean anything, but nothing much to take away from me.
Wow. And it is, the thing that I struggle with is it's ones versus twos. So Sam Ehlinger's getting beat up, and Shane Buechele's going against backups. Joe, what do you think?
I like that I could finally find a Texas team that can score 50 points.
Hey, 2 teams, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I do like is Shane Buechele looked a lot like his older self, not the Shane Buechele that finished the season, but he actually looked comfortable in the pocket. He looked like he'd make the throws he needed to. If he plays like this in the regular season, Texas might actually make something of the season.
Yeah, it seems like Buechele kind of regressed as the year went on. Looked pretty good on Saturday. Jonathan, what stood out?
This game means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. There was too many injuries to account for along the offensive line and at running back. You don't have your number one, your number two. Zach Shackelford's been in and out this entire spring. He needs the reps. And it's just a spring practice. I mean, if you care about a spring practice, why? I mean, there is nothing to it except that you actually get to see them practice. Why are we talking about practice?
Hey, well, practice, man. We're talking about practice because there are plenty of people who cared on Saturday. I'm sure they would have liked to see Shane Buechele perform well.
I stopped
did.
watching after the first half.
Joe, I hope you watched because you made a great point. Shane Buechele looked consistent throughout. You're getting the points. Moving on, just across the highway, Texas baseball is taking a break from conference play where they are 7-8. David Pierce, in his first season, has led the Horns to a 25-15 overall record. D1 Baseball released an early regional field today. They had Texas as a 3 seed for the moment, just past the midseason point. What do you guys make of this team? How far do you think they can go, really, if anywhere, come postseason time, Joe?
Well, right now, Texas sits at the mid part of the Big 12 standings, and that's mostly because they dropped games that they should be winning. After beating Oklahoma in the series 2 weeks ago, last weekend they dropped 2 of 3 to Baylor. So I don't know that they're really going to make any noise in the playoffs. They're obviously not going to win the conference title with it being so top-heavy with Tech and TCU being so great. But I do think they can maybe make a run in the regionals, maybe even make the super regionals. But I don't know that they're going to make anything past that.
Yeah, just a lot of inconsistencies so far. Swept Kansas State, but as you mentioned, swept by Texas Tech. Jonathan?
Well, Reese, it starts off with this weekend with New Orleans. They need to go and basically sweep New Orleans to get the ball rolling for the rest of the season. Then they have TCU coming up. They have West Virginia. If they can take 1 or 2 games apiece from those series and win those midweek games as well, they're in a strong position not only to make the playoffs, make the regionals, but to have some momentum going in. Because TCU is a top contender for the College World Series. If you can beat a TCU, if Texas can get strong pitching and consistent hitting on a inning in and inning out basis, they can really do some damage in the postseason. But it starts this weekend against New Orleans. If they can't do anything against New Orleans, they're out.
Yeah, probably need a sweep, at least 2 of 3 this weekend. Then, as you mentioned, playing 2 top 20 teams in TCU and West Virginia. Mark?
I can't see them going that far. Maybe regionals, but I honestly don't think.
No faith.
No, I have zero faith because they don't have relief pitching. Yeah. They have Morgan Cooper, who's been so good, 1.62 ERA, best pitcher in the team. He's going to get drafted by the MLB. But when you hand the ball off to someone like Chase Shugart, like he did on Tuesday night, he didn't look that great. He did get out of a jam, but then again, that's against Texas State. When you're playing against Tech and TCU, you can't be playing like that. You can't be pitching like that. And Texas just doesn't have that relief pitching to really make a run, in my opinion.
Mark, I'm giving you the points. I couldn't be more with you. I think they'll be a part of a regional. I think they might be able to get past it, but maybe that's too much faith. Chase Shugart's been super inconsistent. Bo Ridgeway has been good, but you saw him blow a lead 2 weeks ago against Baylor. Nick Kennedy blew a lead against Baylor as well. So there's just no one you can rely on. They've tried Henley as the closer. They've tried Johnston. You need bullpens to win in the postseason, something Texas does not have. That will do it for round 1. Up next, number 1 seeds dropping like flies in another NBA fine. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for sticking with us on College Crossfire. Let's take a quick look at our scoreboard. Mark Skol Jr., Mark T. Skol Jr. the third.
Do you know what the T stands for?
I don't.
Tyrone.
Tyrone's 2. Wow, making it right at tight end. Joe with 1. Jonathan, you need that fishing shirt, man.
It's the fishing shirt. I don't know what to do.
That's the deal. That's where the struggle's coming from, but plenty of time to make it up or change in a break or something like that. Moving on, many thought the Boston Celtics could make the NBA Finals after securing the number 1 seed in the East. Star guard Isaiah Thomas still dealing with the news and the loss of his sister. Meanwhile, the Chicago Bulls have notched a 2-0 lead. Guys, can the Celtics come back, or is this series pretty much over? close game in game one. Second game, Chicago pretty much dominated from start to finish. Jonathan, what do you think?
Well, the Celtics, they need their big free agent acquisition to step up. Al Horford has not played like the man that the Celtics signed him to be. 7 points yesterday, and what was it, 5 rebounds? You're a big man, for God's sakes. Crash the boards, get some rebounds. Be physical against this physical Bulls team.
Yeah.
Yes, they're more physical than you, but don't be afraid to hit him in the mouth. Al Horford needs to step up his game and be that secondary scorer he was meant to be with Isaiah Thomas.
Wow, in the face. I like that.
In the teeth.
Wow, the teeth. Even worse. Jeez. Mark, I have to confess something to our audience. I remember a couple of weeks ago you said you probably weren't going to watch a Chicago Bulls postseason game. An avid Chicago sports fan. Are you watching now?
I am watching now, yes. But the reason why the Celtics can make a comeback is because it's the Chicago Bulls. In the last week of the season, they lost the Knicks and the Nets. D. Wade missed like 3 dunks in game 1. I don't know how they came out on top with that win. I still think the Celtics can make a run. They're not playing their best basketball, but that certainly can change. It is the first time a team's been down 2-0. One seed's been down 2-0 to an 8 seed since '93, but the Suns did come out on top in that series in '93. So I think the Celtics still have a shot.
Brad Stevens now 2-10. 2-10.
It's insane.
He's good. He's a good coach. I don't know how to explain it. Joe, what do you think?
Well, the problem isn't just Al Horford not stepping up. It's the rest of the supporting cast. Guys like in the first game, only Avery Bradley and Isaiah Thomas were the only ones in double figures. And in game 2, Isaiah Thomas and 2 others were the only ones in double figures. So no one else is really stepping up to the plate and helping out Isaiah Thomas. It's really a one-man show. And so I don't think that they will come back to win the series. I think with 2 road games coming up, they drop at least one of them. And I think that the Bulls can finish it out in 6.
Wow.
Oh man, that's optimistic thinking.
I think
for
the
Bulls,
Celtics come back. They just need to start playing like they have been all season long.
Yeah, Jonathan, I'm with you. I'm not giving up yet because I saw Rajon Rondo play when he was a Maverick, and it is not the same Rajon Rondo that is playing right now. Jonathan, I'm giving you the points. The battle of the boards is the biggest thing. Celtics can't defend. They can't shoot from 3. That's the biggest issue right now. Maybe they can flip it around. Moving on, guys. The Memphis Grizzlies are also down 2-0 to the San Antonio Spurs.
It was a very poorly officiated
The
basketball
Grizz
game.
fought their way within 4 in the fourth quarter. Ultimately, San Antonio pulled away, and Memphis head coach David Fizdale thought, well, the officials had a lot to do with it.
Zach Randolph, the most rugged guy in the game, had 0 free throws, but somehow Kawhi Leonard had 19 free throws. First half, we shot 19 points, 19 shots in the paint, and we had 6 free throws. They shot 11 times in the paint, and they had 23 free throws. I'm not a numbers guy, but that doesn't seem to add up. 35 times we shot the ball in the paint. We had 15 free throws for the game. They shot 18 times in the paint and had 32 free throws. Kawhi shot more free throws than our whole team. Explain it to me. We don't get the respect that these guys deserve because Mike Conley doesn't go crazy. He has class, and he just plays the game. But I'm not going to let them treat us that way. You know, I know Pop's got pedigree, and I'm a young rookie, but they're not going to rook us. That's unacceptable. That was unprofessional.
Pretty passionate stuff, guys. Does he have a point here? Does the NBA have a problem with treating its stars a little bit too well in terms of officiating, Mark?
First off, I want to say, take that for data. Love it. Love the quote from Fizdale. Yeah, I think the NBA needs to fix this problem. It's been a problem forever. And honestly, the biggest name that comes to mind when it comes to it is LeBron James. The guy flops like no other, and it's real flop James. Yeah, for real. But it's seriously frustrating. I remember there's a time, this is not LeBron, but there's a time when Chris Bosh did like a little swipe, and Carlos Boozer did a swipe, and Bosh pretended like he got hit in the nose. It wasn't even touched, and they gave Bosh the call. And I think they play to these superstar teams, and I'm tired of seeing it. We want the players to play the right way. No flopping, none of this acting stuff. If you want to go into acting, go to Hollywood, man. I'm tired of it.
I like it. Joe, a guy who maybe wants to be in Hollywood, what do you think?
Well, let me tell you. I think this is a pretty big issue for the NBA, not just for the aesthetics of the game, making it fun to watch, but also because they've had problems with rigging games in the past. Yeah, not just the 06 finals, but the refs from the 01 Kings-Lakers series, admitted on his deathbed that that the NBA told him to rig the series in the Lakers' favor. So it's not just that. That's why the NBA has been making so many strides to try and make refs more transparent with the 2-minute reports and everything. It's because they want a more trustworthy style of game, and giving superstar treatment to other players is not really going to help that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what was it last year? You had the 6 call fouls in the final, 30 seconds of the Spurs win over Oklahoma City in a game that decided that series. Jonathan, what do you think?
Well, it's definitely hard for new coaches and younger players to get these types of calls. They have to put in the time. These refs don't know them as well. They haven't officiated. They don't really understand their tendencies. But these players like James Harden, who's for me the main culprit, and he's a Rocket. He has made an art out of drawing fouls and basically flopping. I will admit that. And so it's something that happens the higher up you go onto that superstar trajectory. And so the refs will come to be basically they'll fall for it, and over time it's something that they get into that same habit of making those calls that are flops or whatever. And so it's something that I don't think can really be fixed because they're just so invested already.
Yeah, I think we're kind of all on the same page here. The NBA has a history of doing this. For that, you guys all get a point. And moving on, before the NHL playoffs began, many thought the 2 #1 seeds, the Washington Capitals and the Chicago Blackhawks, had a pretty good chance of meeting in the finals for the Stanley Cup. Meanwhile, the Blackhawks trailed 3-0 to the Nashville Predators. Washington was down 2-1 to Toronto. They did hold on to win tonight, so that series is 2-2. The Minnesota Wild are also down 3-0. Guys, question is it bad for the sport having all these top seeds being eliminated? The playoffs have been great so far, but you've also got Calgary 3-0 over Anaheim, a team that a lot of people thought could make a run. Joe, where do you sit on this?
I do not think it's I don't think it's bad for the sport at all, honestly. It's bad for these teams because they're the ones that are playing terribly when they come to the postseason. You look at Minnesota, their offense has all but disappeared. Washington can't defend very well anymore. And even the Blackhawks just don't look like themselves.
Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me.
Jonathan, what do you think here? Bad for the sport?
No, it's great for the sport. You love to see these upsets. You love to root for the underdog teams that you think have no shot of winning anything. And it's great to see just these teams come out of nowhere and take down the big bad, whoever it is. Yeah. I mean, you saw it with the Warriors taking down the Mavs several years back. I love it. It's fun to watch. It makes the playoffs exciting.
Yeah, it's always an interesting debate of, do you want to see the blue bloods of the sport, or do you want to see the upsets? Mark, where do you stand?
Well, I'm upset that the Blackhawks are doing so poorly, but I think it's great for the playoffs because it makes every single game that much more exciting. It's like, honestly, like the NCAA tournament, March Madness. Yeah. When one seed could get upset by a 16. Most likely it couldn't happen, won't happen, but it could. And that's how it is in the NHL, and I personally love it. I think it makes it the best postseason in all of sports.
I like that. I like that a lot. Mark, you're getting the point heading into the break. That's a pretty great comparison. NHL playoffs and NCAA. That'll do it for another round, but don't go anywhere. We turn up the dial on Rapid Fire next. Welcome back to College Crossfire. It is that time once again. We light up Rapid Fire. Points are doubled. You guys can jump in anytime, and a little break wardrobe change. Jonathan finds himself down 2-4-2, makes the change to the fishing shirt.
It's only right that it comes out of retirement.
That's right.
That was a quick retirement.
Yeah, it wasn't in there for long. Was not in the boat dock for long. So instead, you're welcome to go back to the dock, I guess, after the show. One way or the other, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. HBO announced today that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, how exciting, will be the next team for Hard Knocks. Over the years, we've had the Cowboys, Bengals, Dolphins, Falcons a couple of years ago, guys. The question is, I think the Buccaneers might be one of the worst teams to have on there, but who is the worst, would be the least exciting team to have on Hard Knocks?
Football?
Yeah, NFL.
The Browns.
No, the Browns will be fun because there's so much dysfunction among them.
I wouldn't want to watch the Browns. Dude, I don't like watching the Browns on Sunday. Like, why would I want to watch them during the week?
I like Hugh Jackson. I don't know. Might be fun.
Oh, brutal. No, I couldn't watch the Browns more than on a highlight reel.
Dysfunction's fun.
For me, it would have to be the Cincinnati Bengals. They're just so plain, and you kind of know what you're going to get coming into the season anyways. It's just the same old Andy Dalton. He's
Red Rocket, dude.
Red Rifle. He's a horn frog.
Red BB gun, whatever.
Or-
I don't want to see I never want to see the Bengals.
They
on
are a
Hard
man
Knocks.
team. The only reason I won't give you the point is they've been on Hard Knocks twice already, and both were kind of average. So both were kind of average. So you're absolutely right, but I'm not giving you the point.
I'm probably going to say probably the Houston Texans because, you know.
Again, they were also on there last year.
Oh, process of elimination.
So Mark wins by default. Yeah, Jaguars would be a great answer.
Cleveland.
Mark's got the lead heading forward. And speaking of something that Mark already voiced his opinion on a little bit, 2 postseasons going on as we speak. The NBA, 3 games tonight. Hockey matches that as well. 2 simultaneous great postseasons. The question is, what's the best postseason? Is it March Madness? You've got baseball playoffs, NFL. You've got the NCAA Final. Hey, there you go. We got some soccer. Where do you guys stand? Who has the best playoffs, best games, best system overall?
Since I already answered, I'll just go again. NHL playoffs. The
hard to beat.
butterflies you get in your stomach is like no other. It's like going up to a pretty girl in class. That kind of butterflies.
Wow. Wow. Speaking from experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring my girls from Fiji.
No, but yeah, NHL for sure.
For me, it's got to be the college basketball. I mean, it's just so much.
March Madness.
In March Madness, there's just so much going on. There's always room for upsets. Cinderellas happen every single year. Who saw South Carolina? They couldn't play a lick of offense this entire regular season, and out of nowhere, they make the Final Four, not only on the back of their defense, but their offense was fantastic as well.
Yeah. Out of nowhere, worst shooting team going in the tourney. Joe?
I would have to say my least favorite would be the college playoffs because there's no room on the couch for when you have Texas players over because they're always just on the couch with you.
Wow, a little jab at the horns.
Yeah.
I like it. So, what's the best? That was the
The
actual
best
question.
would have to be high school playoffs.
Oh, those are good.
Football.
Wow, those are actually
Those are
good.
actually good.
Those are actually good. I was expecting some love for the crowd from a little Texas high school football.
Not from Texas.
I like it. These guys aren't digging it. I'm giving it to Jonathan. March Madness to me is awesome. I love the NHL, but you get volume games and you get great competition. Final question for the night, guys. We had Michael Huff taking part in the 40-yard dash against a random student. People were participating in throwing drills against Colt McCoy. This was all in halftime, a spectacle during the spring game. The question is, guys, you get to take part in any drill. This can be in any sport, against any athlete, competition style. What do you do?
Is this so we're gonna win or just to?
No. Just whatever you want to do.
I would want to do sprints with Bartolo Colon because that means I get
Wow.
to win. I win.
Wow, Bartolo. I like that. Sprints against Bartolo. You got a good shot. I don't know your 40 time, but I would say anyone with like healthy legs has a good shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I'm gonna go with a dunk contest with LeBron James. I mean, as much as the guy flops, I'd love to see him dunk right over me. I think that'd be sweet. I don't know. I think that'd be awesome if you have him jump
I don't think
over
it'd be
me.
much of a competition because I know
I know.
you.
I know.
You
That's why I
can't
said.
dunk.
That's why I said. Hey, I've
Yeah.
gotten close at Greg if it's
Yeah.
at 9 feet. So
Yeah, that's right. When they had
when
the
they
rims
lower it,
lowered.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
I'm going to take part in a turnover contest with James Harden and Russell Westbrook.
Wow.
I think I can average less turnovers than the both of them.
Wow.
So.
Strong answer. I am going to give it to Joe Morris. The mention of Bartolo. Yes. An excellent answer. I think you would win. Unfortunately for you, Mark had a little bit of a lead going in there. Mark Skol Jr., Tyrone himself, gets the W. He does have time for FaceTime. Mark, the floor is yours.
Reese, just want to say it's been a pleasure. being on Crossfire with you these last 2 years. It's going to be sad to see you go. Glad to be on you with the show one last time.
Wow, thanks, buddy. Yep, that leads me right into it. Dang. Wow, a little sad. A little sad.
Dang, don't give any craps about me. Whatever.
I've got to save my goodbyes for the next 2 weeks. Next 2 weeks, I got that.
Okay.
Seriously, love all of you guys. A fantastic panel. Some of the staples. You guys have made this experience unbelievable. And that will about wrap it up on College Crossfire. Perfect lead in. We've got 2 final shows this year. Next week, special alumni edition. Former TSTVers come back and battle it out. And the final week will be our senior show where myself and the rest of the seniors will be saying goodbye to the TSTV studios. That will do it. 2 final episodes also of Press Box Mondays at 9:30. For your social media buzz, it's at TSTV Sports. Congrats to Mark Skol again on the big dub. A big thank you to everyone at studio and Master Control, but a special thanks to you for spending your Wednesday night with us. Until next time, I'm Reese Miller. Have an awesome week.